You think she's happy. You think you're doing everything right. And suddenly, your world falls apart. Why do happy women cheat too? What's really going through her head when everything seemed perfect? In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the truth no one told you about female infidelity, and you'll understand why her happiness is no guarantee of anything. More importantly, you'll learn to bulletproof your relationship and never again be caught off guard like an idiot waiting on the platform while the train has already left the station. Listen closely. The biggest lie they sold you is that women only cheat when they're unhappy. That if you're a good provider, an attentive guy, if you keep her smiling, you're safe. A lie. A complete lie. The truth is that women can cheat even when they're happy, even when they love you, even when they have everything they said they wanted. And do you know why? Because female infidelity doesn't work the way they taught you. It's not about unhappiness. It's about optimization. It's about opportunity. It's about testing whether you really are who you say you are. Relationships are a minefield of options. She's constantly evaluating the terrain, measuring possibilities, calculating risks. And you're crossing this field thinking it's a picnic. Every misstep, every weakness you show, every time you lose your frame, you're stepping on an invisible mine. The explosion might not come today, but it's being armed. Here's the central thesis you need to tattoo into your mind. Female infidelity isn't exclusive to unhappy relationships. Instead, it's driven by a complex interaction of biological drivers, a subconscious search for status and resource optimization, and primarily by the absence of a solid masculine frame that makes her respect boundaries instead of testing them. Apparent happiness doesn't negate human nature's drive to seek higher value. Now pay attention to the patterns you need to recognize. First, covert hypergamy. This is the biological drive for a subconscious search for a partner of higher perceived value. She's happy with you today, but her primitive brain is constantly scanning the environment. When a guy appears with more power, more perceived ambition, more social status, something lights up in her. It's not conscious, it's not planned, but it's real. Imagine the situation. She works at a stable company. You're the reliable engineer husband. Suddenly, a new director joins her team. Young, ambitious, leading big projects. She starts mentioning him casually. They work late on some projects. That energy is there. You think it's just work. She thinks it's just professional admiration. Until it's not anymore. Second pattern, advanced boundary testing. She doesn't just cheat out of nowhere. She tests you first. Innocent messages with an X. That hours-long conversation in Instagram DMs. That guy at the gym she mentions every week. She's pushing the fence, seeing if you'll stand your ground or if you'll swallow it and pretend everything's fine. When you don't react, when you turn a blind eye because you want to be the cool, confident guy, you've just failed the test. And do you know what happens when you fail? She loses respect. And when she loses respect, she loses attraction. And when she loses attraction, she looks elsewhere. Third, the window of opportunity. Work trip. Weekend with friends in another city. Social events where you're not present. In these moments, the perceived risk of discovery is zero. Rationalization is at its peak. What happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? Wrong. What happened in Vegas destroyed entire families. Opportunity combined with a sense of impunity is a lethal combination. She might be completely happy in her marriage, but in that moment, in that context, psychological barriers fall. Fourth pattern, external validation. She needs to feel desired, not just by you, by others. It's feminine nature to seek constant confirmation of her value in the sexual marketplace. You can compliment her every day, but when an interesting stranger does the same, it carries a different weight. It's validation untainted by obligation. It's proof that she's still got it. Flirting at the bar, excessive attention from a colleague, matches on apps she keeps just out of curiosity. Each of these moments feeds something in her. And when this validation escalates, when it goes from likes to messages, from messages to dates, the groundwork has already been laid. Fifth, silent emotional disconnection. She's laughing beside you. You go out together. She's affectionate. But look into her eyes. Is anyone home? You've become comfortable, predictable, safe, and safety without challenge is the slow death of attraction. She no longer feels that spark. There's no more sexual tension, no more unpredictability. You've become a functional piece of furniture in her life. She's not unhappy. She's just numb. And in this state of emotional dormancy, anything that awakens that old feeling becomes irresistible. Sixth and most critical, lack of masculine frame. You've abdicated leadership. You've become the nice guy. You apologize when you shouldn't. You give in to everything to avoid conflict. You've lost that edge that made you attractive in the beginning. Frame is the invisible structure that keeps the relationship on track. It's having direction, purpose, non-negotiable boundaries. When you lose your frame, she instinctively starts looking for a man who has one. It could be at work. It could be at the gym. It could be that guy who doesn't give a damn about her. And precisely because of that, awakens something primitive. Let me tell you 3 real stories. John, 35, an engineer, married for 8 years to Mary. He was the perfect provider, stable, attentive, present. Mary always seemed happy. She posted photos of the couple on social media. She called him my love in front of her friends. Then, the frequent happy hours started. Networking, she said. Professional growth. John trusted her. Why wouldn't he? She was happy. He found out 6 months later. A team colleague, younger, more ambitious according to her, more challenging. John was in shock. 8 years. Everything seemed perfect. Contentious divorce, trust shattered. And the question that won't leave his head, but she was happy, wasn't she? Peter, 40, an entrepreneur, dating Anna for 3 years. She's head over heels, according to everyone around them. She constantly praises the security and stability he offers. A trip with friends abroad. Anna comes back different. 3 months later, during an argument, the truth comes out. A one-night stand with a tourist. The justification? She needed to feel desired again, in a different way. Peter doesn't understand. He thought he was giving her everything. The relationship was great. Or was it? Now he questions everything. His worth, his masculinity, if he was ever enough. Charles, 29, a developer. 2 years into a relationship with Laura. He considers her exclusive. He's planning to move in together. He accidentally discovers that Laura maintains an active profile on dating apps. Not just active, she goes out with other guys. When confronted, her response sends chills down his spine. Keeping her options open isn't cheating. You're not married. She's affectionate with him, says she likes him, but she's always evaluating if there's something better. Charles feels used, a placeholder until she finds an upgrade. Months of his life invested in a dynamic that only existed in his head. These cases share a pattern. None of these women were unhappy. All of them seemed satisfied. And yet, infidelity happened. Why? Because happiness isn't the safety lock. Frame is, value is, boundaries are, leadership is. Now let's talk about your mistakes. The mistakes you're making right now and don't realize. First mistake, increasing vigilance and control. You discover strange messages, and what do? You turn into a detective. You check her phone. You interrogate her about every outing. You demand real-time location. You think you're protecting the relationship. You're destroying it. Control breeds resistance. She'll feel suffocated, trapped. And do you know what women do when they feel trapped? They flee. You pushed her exactly where you feared she would go. Second mistake, emotional and accusatory confrontation. You explode, you yell, you cry, you accuse, you make a scene. You think you're showing you care. You're showing you've lost control. You're showing weakness. She'll deny it. She'll roll her eyes. She'll lose even more respect for you. A man who loses his composure loses his frame. And when you lose your frame, you lose the game. Third mistake, trying to be nicer or provide more. You think the problem is a lack of attention or resources. You start showering her with gifts. You become even more accommodating. You cancel your commitments to be available. You've just become a utilitarian resource, not a desirable partner. You've reinforced that your value lies in what you do for her, not in who you are, and utilitarian partners are replaceable. Fourth mistake, self-victimization and lamentation. You break down. You tell everyone how much you're suffering. You post passive-aggressive messages. You seek pity. Your personal power has evaporated. Your attractiveness has evaporated. No one respects a victim, much less desires a victim. You've become the exact opposite of the man she wanted by her side. Fifth mistake, ignoring the signs and red flags. That strange message you saw and pretended not to see. That new behavior that bothered you, but you rationalized. You were afraid of being annoying, afraid of being insecure, so you swallowed it. Every time you swallow a sign, you communicate that your boundaries are negotiable. And when your boundaries are negotiable, you have no boundaries. Sixth mistake, obsessively searching for proof. You have no peace. You live checking her social media. You analyze every interaction. You create conspiracy theories. You're so focused on finding evidence that you've forgotten to live. The relationship is already dead. You're just dissecting the corpse looking for the cause of death. But the cause is yourself, the paranoia without constructive action. So what do you do? How do you navigate this minefield without exploding? Here's the protocol. First step, maintain your frame and purpose. Be a man with direction in life. Your mission cannot be her. You have goals, you have projects, you have a vision for the future that exists with or without her. Why? Because women are attracted to men who have purpose, not to men who orbit around them like desperate satellites. When you have frame, you set the tone for the relationship. You don't react, you lead. Second step, establish clear boundaries and consequences. Define exactly what is acceptable and what is not. Communicate this calmly and non-negotiably. And most importantly, have real consequences. Boundaries without consequences are suggestions. When she tests a boundary and nothing happens, the boundary has disappeared. Respect comes from consistency. Set the fence. Maintain the fence. Do not negotiate the fence. Third step, invest in yourself and your market value. Take care of your body. Advance in your career. Develop interesting hobbies. Expand your social network. Why? Because it increases your objective attractiveness and decreases your emotional dependence. When you have options, real or perceived, you don't act out of desperation. You act out of choice. And choice is power. Fourth step, create challenge and healthy scarcity. Don't always be available. Have your own life. Go out with your friends. Immerse yourself in your projects. She cannot have 100% of your attention without effort. Why? Because scarcity creates value. Abundance creates complacency. When you're always there, always available, always giving in, you lose the mystery, you lose the tension, you lose the attraction. Fifth step, observe patterns, not isolated incidents. A strange message might be nothing. 10 strange messages over 2 months is a pattern. She went out with friends once. Normal. She's going out every week and coming back evasive. Pattern. Focus on consistent changes in behavior. That's where the truth lies. An isolated symptom can be noise. Patterns are signals. Sixth step. Communicate clear expectations of fidelity. Have an adult, direct conversation about what loyalty means to both of you. Don't assume you're aligned. Don't assume she thinks like you. Explicitly establish the social contract of the relationship. Why? Because it aligns expectations and shows that you value integrity. It also eliminates the future excuse of, "I didn't know that was important to you." Now look at your reality. Look at your relationship. Are you navigating the minefield with your eyes open or blindfolded? Are you maintaining your frame, or are you bending over backward to avoid conflict? Have you established boundaries? Or are you waiting for her to respect invisible boundaries that only exist in your head? The unpalatable truth is this. Happy women also cheat because happiness isn't a safety lock. Frame is, value is, boundaries are. And if you abdicated these pillars because someone told you that being strong is toxic, you were deceived. Strength is not oppression. Leadership is not control. Having boundaries is not insecurity. It's exactly the opposite. You have a choice now. You can close this video and continue thinking that being a nice guy is enough. You can continue believing that if she's smiling, everything is under control. You can keep ignoring the tests, swallowing disrespect, abdicating your frame because you're afraid of conflict. And 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, when the ground disappears from beneath your feet, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that someone warned you. You'll remember that you had the information and chose comfortable ignorance. Or you can do things differently. You can take control of your narrative. You can rebuild your frame. You can establish real boundaries. You can invest in your value. You can stop begging for respect and start demanding it through your presence, your posture, your life. You can understand that protecting your relationship isn't about being jealous or controlling. It's about being intelligent and strategic. The minefield is there. The mines are armed. You can cross blindfolded, hoping for luck. Or you can learn to identify the explosives, disarm the traps, and walk with awareness and strength. The choice is yours, but choose quickly, because the clock is ticking, and every day you spend in denial is one day closer to the explosion. Now tell me in the comments, which of these patterns do you recognize in your relationship right now? Which boundary test did you recently ignore? Because you didn't want to be the insecure guy? Share this video with that friend who needs to wake up before it's too late. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content that tells you the truth instead of selling illusions. And most importantly, decide. Decide now if you're going to be the man who navigates the minefield with intelligence or the victim who explodes and wonders what went wrong. Your relationship, your power, your choice. What will it be?